Here we have the 4-hour price chart for Palantir Technologies Incorporated, stock ticker PLTR. So as we can see here, the stock had a somewhat strong close to the end of last week, the Friday trading session. If we sort of move in on the price chart here, we can see that for the most part, the activity here is positive. We did see a bit of a retracement into the closing period. We do have a red candle to close the week on Friday. And we did ultimately see prices pull back to new lows coming in at 31.96. However, this is a very convincing break above the $30 mark. And this does tell us that we now have a weekly close above that $30 mark. So this is a very significant development in terms of the long-term outlook for the stock. So in this video, we will be looking at some specific price zones, some potential scenarios that could call into question some of these recent price moves, and try to identify a strategy here for the stock going forward. So as we can see here, the stock has seen a very strong two-way reversal here over the last few weeks. For the most part, this declining price movement was occurring as large portions of the stock market were selling off. Mostly what we're talking about here would be a sell-off in the technology space, but those price declines extended far beyond just the technology space. And we're really looking at the S&P 500 as a whole, Dow Jones Industrial Average, and the NASDAQ as well. So even the Russell 2000, so even the small cap stocks. My stocks in my trading room mostly focus on small cap stocks, at least at the moment. Those stocks were not trading under significant selling pressure. We're seeing gains of 45% over the last few weeks. So not all small cap stocks have been falling victim to these types of trends, but we did see a major two-way series of price activities here, which did affect Palantir and did probably catch many traders off guard. So as we can see here, the near-term low currently comes in at 21.23. This would be a very critical level to watch to the downside. Mostly the reason that this is a favorable development for the stock comes from the fact that we did not even test this 2050 level, which was the prior basis of the upward trending move. If you've seen my other videos, you would know that I have called a lot of attention to this 2050 area. It comes in at roughly 2050, 2060. Essentially, this area marks a triple bottom support zone. So it's a very strong level of support that has managed to sort of act as a launching pad for the stock. And this is really what enabled the stock to ultimately test this $30 level initially. Of course, we didn't see a clear break above that level. We did see prices close most recently within this trend wave just below that number. The ultimate price highs came in at 29.83. And then we did see these, this strong movement lower as the rest of the stock market was starting to sell off. So currently the real question that we have to answer here is whether or not this price movement to the top side is going to be sustainable. There are some real questions here that do need to be answered, because even though you've got a somewhat positive reading in the relative strength index, we do have a moderately upward trending slope here in the RSI. And this does tell us that the stock still has positive momentum underlying the share price. But at the same time, what you've got to note here is that the stock is starting to roll over out of overbought territory. So this does suggest that, we could be in store here for a bit of a retracement. And if we look at the most recent selling activity on Friday, this is starting to become clear that some of the market is starting to take profits on these positions. Of course, this is a very big price move in a very short period of time. As this has happened, the share price itself has deviated quite far away from its own exponential moving averages. So as we can see here, we don't really test the exponential moving average until we get back down to roughly 29.80. This is where the 20-period exponential moving average rests. That's this orange line here. And as we can see here, this moving average is sloping upward quite dramatically. This is a very strong movement to the top side. So the real question is whether or not that type of price movement in the moving average, we're not talking about the stock price here, we're talking about the moving average. So the real question is going to be whether or not this type of activity is going to be sustainable. If we're looking at the overbought condition in the relative strength index, if we move in here, we can see that we're sort of on the verge here now of breaking below the exponential moving average for the relative strength index. That's this yellow line here. That's also sloping upward. It's a positive development to see these moving averages slope upward. But what we also have to remember, as that's happening, it becomes much easier for the stock or for the relative strength index to then break back below that moving average. If it's sort of rapidly ascending, it becomes much easier to break. So as things currently stand, we're rolling over out of overbought territory, and now we're sloping back in the downward direction in the RSI, even while the moving average is sloping upward. So what this suggests here is that a downside break in the relative strength index looks like it's coming soon, and this could occur during the Monday trading session. So if this does happen, the suggestion here would be that we would be in store for a bit of a retracement to the downside. The real question from there is, how far do we retrace? Is this a major pullback? Do we reverse all of these gains, or is this more short-term in nature? And are those pullback movements smaller in size? So the first level that I would be watching here does come in right around $30.10. I don't really like to focus on psychological levels like this $30 mark too strongly. I do think that they're just psychological in nature. I don't think that they really have much technical significance on their own unless they're accompanied by other technical signals. In this case, I don't really see that occurring unless we were to continue to see the 20-period exponential moving average come into contact with that area, which is possible. But if that were to occur, we would need to see a price decline fairly quickly, because as things currently stand, this yellow line here is going to be breaking above the $30 mark relatively soon, and then heading into these upper areas, roughly $30.80, $31. So the way this currently looks to me is a decline here would need to happen quickly in order for the 20-period EMA to provide much of a technical signal in this area. So I don't really see that happening. I do think that we will get a bit more of a rollover here, possibly break down into the 23.6% Fibonacci retracement. That would come in right around the $30.10 mark. And then the real question from there would be whether or not we see prices move lower. If we do lose the $30 handle, you do have to start to watch this $29.80 level roughly, because that is where the stock would really need to find support in order to maintain this broader uptrend. So here's the current market analysis for Palantir Technologies Incorporated, stock ticker PLTR. Our high value trading strategies membership is currently available for a limited time for only $9.99 per month. These high conviction investment strategies are characterized by superior risk to reward metrics that target massive market beating returns over time. Join now to outperform the market. Lock in this special introductory rate of just $9.99 per month for the entire lifetime of your membership, and start trading stocks with the pros.